Alrighty. Welcome in, Twitch. Oh, we're gonna turn that down. There we go. That's gonna be a bad echo for a second. There we go. I forget I'm backwards, kind of. There we go. Well, you guys know the drill. It is Tuesday morning, which means we have week in review of the NFL Week 9 season. Oof. A tough one for us Cowboys fans. We'll go over it later. You know, we like to save that game for last. Hey, turn that down. Sorry about that. Alrighty. Yeah, so a good week in football, though, I think. Some surprise games, some really excellent games. Some really interesting, things that happened this week. The Josh Dobbs trade to Minnesota, some other things here and there. So we'll kind of just go over some of those and what I kind of thought of the games. Start off with the Thursday football game, Tennessee versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh picking up the win here, 2016. Pretty good back and forth game. Will Levis still looking good, as good as he did the first week, but not bad. Pittsburgh getting a much needed win here to stay kind of in the NFC or AFC North there. Obviously, the other three teams in the AFC North is definitely looking to be the best division in football right now. So, do we finally get our first ever four? I don't. It could happen. The way the AFC is shaping up, it could happen. We could get a four-team playoff from very possible. So, again, I don't think Pittsburgh has enough in them to do a playoff run, but we'll see where that goes. The other three teams in that division are just slightly better than they are. The Ravens are better than they are. The Bengals are starting to look like the old Bengals, and the Browns, that defense is crazy good. What? You want to sit up here? Yeah. Okay. You can be quiet. All right. Thank you. Then we'll start off with the Germany game, Miami versus Kansas City, which on this one actually I call a surprise game. Not in of who won. I kind of actually expected the Chiefs to win, but the score 21-14. I thought this was going to be a little bit more of a game. You know, sometimes with these teams going across seas, the defenses tend to struggle a little bit more, but the offenses both defensive battle. And if it wasn't for that last fumble in this at the second half and pitch a touching game all whole, congrats to the Chiefs on picking up that win there. Patrick Mahomes still not looking off that flu, not looking extremely solid, but his wide receivers just are not getting the separation that he needs them to get in a good team. And Miami showing that when they face an elite team, they just can't do what they do against some of these inferior opponents. And I think that's troublesome. You know, it's very much a Dallas Cowboys recipe here. You know, you can beat the crap out of all the inferior teams you want, but if you come up against these playoff teams and put up the numbers, what's the point? So, again, I do think the Chiefs might have shown how to beat Miami a little bit. A lot of jamming on Tyreek there at the line, which I thought was very smart. And it worked out really good. Another surprise game, honestly. Minnesota 31, Atlanta 28. Hey, okay. I really didn't expect Minnesota to be this close to Atlanta, let alone pick up the win. You know, Josh Dobbs had 5 days to kind of learn some of this offense. He really didn't take any of the snaps with the team all week, from what I understood, for practice. He was more just studying the playbook and stuff like that. Doesn't know a lot of these guys' names, but Josh Dobbs has shown all year that he fights, and he's willing to fight in a game and give everything he's got to try to win, and it's definitely shown. Hands down, one of the more competitive players in this league, very intelligent, picking up a huge win here for the Vikings. You know, a lot of people, I think, when they saw that Kirk Cousins injury, they're like, man, Vikings waited too long. They didn't get anything really done on the fire sales. Now they're really screwed. But he's keeping them in it. You know, this NFC is wide open as far as playoff teams are concerned. I think after 1 and 2, even 3 and 4, because you consider the division. So I think there's gonna be a lot of surprises in the playoffs in the NFC this year, and great win pickup. Atlanta, I don't know. I don't know what to think about Atlanta. I almost feel like their head coach doesn't want to win this season. I think he wanted another season of making, a top draft pick to maybe go get that quarterback for his new running back and stuff like that. But not using Bijan is definitely becoming detrimental to his coaching. I 100% think that. And even though this game, I still think that, like the Taylor Heineke switch, though, I don't think Desmond Ridder is the guy to get it done right now for Atlanta. I like the Taylor Heineke switch. He's looking better. So we'll see where it goes for them, because their division is wide open. The South is going to be a battle who wins that division to get into the playoffs. So we'll see where that goes. Arizona, Cleveland. Cleveland coming out with 27. Arizona getting nothing. We got a burger here, or a bagel as they call it. Kind of expected. Arizona traded away probably the only player on the team that still believed that they could win a game. Kyler Murray's been activated from what I understand, but do you still play him? I would. You got to see what you have, because maybe you trade him away to get some more draft picks to draft the quarterback at number 1 and get maybe some other players in there as well. You definitely need something on the defense, I think. That Cleveland defense is a monster. Deshaun Watson actually having a pretty decent game here. Maybe it's the turning point here for him. But again, it's the Arizona Cardinals, so you can't really say much about that. I mean, they did beat Dallas, but again, like I said, now without Joshua Dobbs, there's real no competitiveness fire in them. I don't know. Hey. A little quieter. Can you do it quieter? Thank you. But I still like Cleveland. We're gonna see a Baltimore matchup again. We're gonna see a big matchup again. Let's see what they can do and where that goes from there. Okay, down. Alright. Thank you. Just don't play on the tablet, okay? I might have to adjust some things here. Give me a sec. I'll have that going. Dad's gonna turn off the TV for just a second, okay? What? Let's see if we can't. Slow. There we go. Now it's looking a little better. I'll turn it back on after we're done, okay? I'm just trying to see what we got going on here. Alright, it's looking better. Okay. To get my stuff fixed here. We're in the process of, our internet company's been putting fun. They're almost done installing it all, and then we should be able to get our high internet through here. Alright, so Los Angeles, Green Bay. No Matthew Stafford in this game, obviously, so Green Bay win 3. A good thing for Green Bay at this time, because I think it gives them a little hope where I don't think they have hope. I was initially thinking maybe a couple weeks, but they're coming off a bye, so we'll figure it out. Or they had to buy 2 weeks ago. Nobody had to buy. Jordan Love's still not shown enough yet to prove he's ready for a playoff run. So I definitely don't see them making the playoffs. They're lucky. They're in the NFC there, which is a little weaker, but proven the fight. So I don't give them 100% a win there the next time they face off. The Bears, Green Bay still might at the bottom. They still might finish at the bottom of the North. So we'll see where that goes. Washington, new team. Sam Howell really, really good. So the loss last week to the Eagles, I think, was 100% coaching on Ron Rivera. Should have a couple drop balls too on Scary Terry there at the end is crucial, but they pick up the win here to kind of keep the NFC. Obviously, New England's defense is still there, but the offense just doesn't star. Mac Jones is doing all he can, but there's just not that guy that worries about on their offense. Like, oh, we might have to double cover him so someone else can get open type situation. It's straight up, they can match up with anybody one-on-one on New England's receiving core and handle it very well. So we've seen, Dallas beat them. We've seen the Eagles beat them. We've seen Washington beat them. I think the NFC East is basically saying, hey, New England, you ain't getting anything here. And I don't think they're going to pick up any other wins in the AFC East this year as well. Maybe one against the Jets. It's going to be tough. New England's definitely finishing at the bottom of that division, but I think it's time for the change. I would say Belichick, just retire, go out on top. Don't diminish your legacy anymore, and see what can happen with a new head coach maybe. Chicago, New Orleans. New Orleans 24, Chicago 17. Again, a very competitive game by the Bears. New Orleans having to really, take this win. Not surprised there by the win, but a little surprised more by the fight that Chicago put on. This backup quarterback is showing some things, and maybe I don't think he's better than Justin Fields by any means. I think Justin Fields is definitely the more talented of the two, but maybe, just maybe, when he comes back, they can use some of the things they're using for this quarterback to get Justin Fields some of that confidence, and then they'll be a really competitive team. So, they got the Josh Sweat trade. That's working out pretty good for them. We'll see. I think the Chicago team, again, I didn't think they were going to be there this year. We'll see what happens for them. But they'll have a good New Orleans big pin here. They're going to start having some more games coming up they got to win. So keep going. Derek Carr's still not looking amazing to me. Taysom Hill's basically becoming the ipso facto star on doing everything that he does. So we'll see where it goes. Not necessarily the win. Baltimore versus Seattle. Baltimore 37, Seattle 3. Baltimore's defense won havoc. Geno Smith couldn't get the ball away. He was getting beat up. This did not look good for Seattle at all. It looks really good. Baltimore is going to be very tough to stop right now. Lamar's playing very good football. Back and Gus Edwards, Dobbins going on this season again. Ed stepped up. That tight end group is probably one of the best in football, if not the best. The wide receivers are starting to make plays, which is good. We kind of needed. And this defense is just crazy good. I would not be surprised if they're the number one seed, just because Ken's a little bit. And I don't think really win-wise or Cincinnati can catch them. So the number one over the playoffs now. Come playoff time, we see where that goes. And can Lamar stay healthy throughout the season? That's always going to be a key factor with Lamar going forward. Is can he stay some of the or quarterbacks due to rain? So again, right now they are the number one football team to me in the country, even over the Eagles. Even though the Eagles have the better record, I think the Baltimore Ravens look better. And we'll do that in our rankings going forward here. But Tampa, what a game. Definitely shootout of the week. Really cool. Houston ended up pulling up the win here, 39-37 on a late last second touchdown. Stroud, 470 yards. We have to fish Texans winners of the 2023 draft. Trading up to get C.J. Stroud, first of all, and also getting their defensive pick a couple picks later. great moves. They're looking like they're having fun. And I told you guys I was telling a lot of people this last year. That Texans team, even though they didn't win many games, man, they were competitive, and they need to come to fruition this year. And they might make the playoffs. They might. It's gonna be a long shot. They might make the playoffs though. And C.J. Stroud is hands down the rookie of the year right now. There's nobody close to him right now, not even touching him. So it's crazy how good that is. And honestly, Tampa Bay putting up 37 points with Baker is great too. I think it's great for the Bucs. It's a heartbreaking loss, but I was such a great football game to watch. I was getting the last bits of it when I got to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch the Dallas game. So really crazy, and just congrats to C.J. Stroud, man. I doubted. I thought I'm not a big Ohio State fan, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. All the quarterbacks that have come out of Ohio State into the NFL, they just struggle. And I don't know if it's just, the way the coaching was at Ohio State, whatever. But C.J. Stroud is proving to be a really great quarterback, and it's working. It was so good for them. They even kicked Phil back. They had their kicker down with the injury. They had their running back come in and kick a field goal, and he made it. So, congrats to the Texans, man. Keep it up. Indy, Carolina. Indy 27, Carolina 13. Again, Bryce Young needs one more. He needs something else. Maybe a little better line. Maybe that Cal running back. They'll get another high draft pick this year. Just don't see that happening to, the way that their season's going. They've got Dallas coming up in 2 weeks. I'm excited for the game for us. Honestly, I think Micah Parsons might have a record day that day. We'll see. But yeah, Carolina has nothing really. They're going to be at the bottom of the league. They've made some trades and moves. They need to wait for those trades and moves to come to fruition next year. Give them some time. Indy 27 though on that, great for Indy keeping up the winning. They might make the playoffs here. I don't know if Anthony Richardson can come back this season. I have to go look at his injury. If he can keep playing their quarterback of the future, I think they need that star wide receiver as well. And if he's coming, in Indy, would not be a bad idea for them to go pair him with Anthony Richardson for next year. Their I think is pretty much locked up for Jacksonville to take, but there is a playoff spot going to be available in the wild card. So, poor Giants. Las Vegas 30, New York Giants 6. And it does. I think it was confirmed on the MRI that it was a tear, so he is out for the season. The Giants are basically battling for who gets the best game this year. To be honest, yeah, maybe last year was just a weird phenomenon. Playing it, they made the playoffs. They almost they did win a playoff game against the Vikings. I don't know, but I do think they are done. There's not a lot left for them this year. We got them this week. I hope it's not a game. That would be very bad for them. Would not be nice. But it is in Dallas too, so it could get pretty ugly. Probably that's the game I should have went to, honestly. Or at least guarantee a win. But how that goes, just not good for them. Vegas, their new coach, getting a win, put up 30. Is this the turnaround for Vegas? I don't know. Kind of that weird where a new coach takes over for their spirits kind of go up a little bit. They play a little bit harder than they normally would. Vegas has some pieces, but they need more. They might be one of the teams that needs a quarterback in this upcoming draft, or, there might be some free agents. Kirk Cousins is supposed to be a free agent. However, depending on how Dallas season goes, Dak might be a free agent next year. There's going to be some options, obviously. I don't think Jimmy G's the answer. Clearly, they don't either. I mean, I know he's injured, but I think they could tell that he was not the answer. So, otherwise, you're going to lose Devontae Adams either way. Buffalo Cincy Sunday night football game, 24 Cincy, Buffalo 18. Great win for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is looking amazing. I think. Oh, careful, bud. Hang on. Hands down, probably the hottest quarterback going right now as far as where his play level is at. He's starting to make a climb for that MVP race. Finally healthy, looking good. Buffalo still, man, those turnovers. and Josh he's got to get those under control in these bigger games. Buffalo, very up and down season, very Dallas Cowboyish as well. Beating up bad teams, losing to good teams. You can't do that, and they've beaten some good teams too. I'm not gonna say that's not truth, but I don't know what's going on with them. Defensively, I think they're missing pieces again. They got a lot of injuries this year on the defense. They'll probably still make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make a deep playoff run. And things could turn around, you never know. But, the Bengals are looking really solid. So, Monday Night Football, Los Angeles Chargers 27, New York Jets 6. Zach Wilson outpassed Justin Herbert. Breece Hall was the leading runner, and you only get 6 points. That doesn't bode well. And I know there was some drops by wide receivers in this game. The offensive line is struggling, and that might have been the problem how Aaron got hurt, from what we kind of understand. They're still in a hunt here, but man, Zach's got to play like he played against Kansas City all the time. This defense is still pretty solid, but they can't keep it up. That's the problem, right? Is you can't blame that for that either. If they're on the field so much that they can't, these guys they're not machines. They're gonna break down. They're gonna slow down. So as good as this defense is, they can't keep being the one to try to win the ball game. It's got to be the ball game. So we'll see where it goes. The Chargers sticking in the playoff hunt with this win. They kind of needed that, but they're still looking like. I do 100% think head coach. If the Chargers either miss the playoffs or even make the playoffs and lose first round, he's gone. Staley's got to be gone. You can't keep him around. I feel the same way about Mike McCarthy this year for the Cowboys as well. Obviously, his head coaching style just doesn't what I need to be doing. So, especially when you're in a division with you got the Broncos and the Raiders not living up to their potential. If you want to beat Kansas City, you got to move on your coaching decision. Reed is probably the top coach in the league right now. We can't go. But again, I think they'll keep going. Both divisions, honestly, to me, there's 3 or 4 teams that can be considered contenders for the championship games, and then there's for wild cards. So we'll go over that in the power rankings a little bit. Get to the game that I know a lot of you Philly fans want to talk about. Philadelphia 23. It was America's game of the week. I think it was the game of the week, honestly. Texans make a case for it, but what a great game by both defenses. No turnovers in this game. Could have been 3 easily on the, but no turnovers. A little heavily utilized, I would say, on both teams, but I do think, and I'm not saying this is why we lost, but it is a factor. Key penalties by the refs that shouldn't have been called or missed when that happens. But Dak steps out of bounds on the 2-point conversion. We missed the touchdown pass, which, again, that was before Dak running out of bounds. The 2-point conversion still could have been, just would have been more time on the clock. The 4th down play, Cowboys had plenty of chances to win that with as bad as it was. We just didn't come out with the win. So that's the part, right? Is out. If you look at the stat line, we outperformed the Eagles in everything. We should have won that game. It came down to key plays at the end and decisions made at the end. I don't like a loss anytime, but there's still things that we can learn from this loss. I say this is in Dallas. It's a different story. But it also showed, hey, yeah, the 49ers game was bad. We know it was bad. We ain't letting that happen again. So here it is, we're up against a good team. We played hard. We could have won the game. We should have won the game. We didn't. I get it. We're still to the elite teams. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all. I think there's thinking. I'm seeing 2013 Dak when I look at it. This is a couple weeks ago, man. I still believe, and I told him I need that Dak Prescott that runs and throws and gets out of, he was getting pressured all night. And I said it last week too, man. This offense got to figure out what the heck's going on. Terrence Steele is a great run blocking tackle, but man, the moment we put him in pass blocking situations, he crumbles. That left side was looking solid though. The Smith duo, man, just holding that left side down. I think Biotish missed a few. Zach Martin's all pro. You ain't ever gonna get. I'm never gonna give Zach Martin anything. That guy is a future. But that right tackle spot, man, Terrence Steele put in some work this week. We got Giants stuff you can work on, but there's gonna be some teams coming down the gauntlet with some really good pass rushers that we need you to step up on. I like the way they played. The Eagles played really great too. Jalen Hurts is hurt. You can tell that knee is not 100%. And it definitely affects the way they want to play football a little bit as far as the offense goes. That defense, though, that secondary isn't looking crazy good, but there was a lot of pressures all night by that defense up front, and that usually can make up for some lackluster stuff in the defensive or secondary, because that's clearly kind of what Dallas does a little bit too. Man, do I miss Trayvon Diggs. They're on a bad game, The catches that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith got were, A.J. Brown's first touchdown was a great pass. Great coverage by Bland. Just a beautiful pass by Hurts. Beautiful catch. Devontae Smith kind of a few times with his speed, so it does concern me a little bit. We don't have a lot of speed in our secondary. I wish we could get some there. Our linebacking core was looking a little weak again, up like he did in past weeks. I'd like to see that. Leighton's on his way back, but again, Leighton running a downhill guy. The safeties were a little quiet. I found it a little weird. Donovan Wilson usually has some sort of impact in the game. Drawn Curse had a couple, but nothing crazy. We just really remember that key play from our secondary. The front was putting pressure on. We got a couple, forced a few fumbles. We just couldn't recover them, man. Give credit the Eagles there. Recovering those fumbles, that's part of the game, right? If there's a fumble, you make sure you get it back, and they got all three back. So, again, really, it just came down to a few key moments. I think the missed or the pass interference call on Gilmore should never have happened. That should have been picked up. I think picking up the flag on Gallup was okay. From my angle or my replay look, it looked more like it was here, not here. A lot of people saying it was, so I don't mind him picking that one up. Missed the holding call on CeeDee Lamb. Literally, he's got his arm back here. He can't do that. Missed hold calls on Micah Parsons all game, but that happens every week. And then then it came down to Dallas, his execution in the end. We get them on an offsides, right? Get them on an offsides. Great. Now it's, first and goal from the 5 yard, or first and 5 from the 5 yard line or 6 yard line, because we only had to get to the 1 to get a first down. Perfect position, and we get a freaking false start. There's no reason we should have false started anywhere on that play. Puts us back, so then we change the play, then we get a sack, then we get a delay of game. Those three sequences right there ended the game. No reason for any one of those to happen. And 100% lineman, Dak, and McCarthy. That's who you blame it on. The lineman for jumping off for the false start. The lineman for letting that guy just fly in at Dak. I know Dak probably should have tried to get rid of the ball, but I don't think he really had a chance. Watching that play back, he was right in his face, and Dak, if he throws that ball, it's a pick, so it's an end anyway. So we hold on to it, take sack, at least we get a chance. Then the delay of game, 100% on McCarthy and Dak there. Get the play in, let's get upset up. But I also kind of want to look at and this is for Philly fans as well, because I went to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch this game with one of my best friends who's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And we kind of were commenting on the Eagles, man. They kept getting that play clock down to 3, 2, 1, and barely getting the ball off. And I'm like, somebody better clock operator. He might be drunk already. Because I feel like as a home team, you should never have that issue. And it almost happened 3 or 4 times with them. Then it happened almost a couple times with us. Then it did happen at the end of the game. So, or maybe it's the Philadelphia Stadium. Fix your stuff. Put a bigger clock up somewhere. I don't know. That just, I feel like at this level it shouldn't be happening anymore. Delay of games are not, as a professional, that just looks bad. So there was a lot, like I said, a lot of bad things. Congrats to the Eagles. You get this one. We're going to get the one in Dallas. Don't you worry about that. My score was a little wrong. I thought it was going to be 38-17. I thought it was going to be a blowout on either side. I thought either the Eagles were going to blow out the Cowboys or the Cowboys were going to blow out the Eagles. I didn't think it was going to be this battle, which makes me very hopeful for the next matchup. And I hands down, where things are finishing up, we'll probably be the 5 seed. We need some help to, the Eagles do have probably their biggest gauntlet coming up with KC. The Niners are in there. Seattle's in there. The Eagles got some tough matchups coming up, so they could easily lose they could go 2-2 there. We just need to go, 4-0 there, and then we'll face off again. It's gonna be, if that happens, if it coming into that Dallas Philly game, it decides who's the 1 seed or the winner of the NFC East championship. That's I think the NFC East will have the number 1 seed. I think the Niners are gonna lose maybe one more game. I don't see Philly or Dallas losing more than 3. Because Dallas could win out, and that'd be their 3 losses. Philly's definitely only maybe going to lose 2 more, if even that, maybe even 1 or 2 more. We'll see because they got Kansas City after the bye. That's going to be a crazy game to watch. But yeah, so I think we're going to be the 5 seed. I think they'll be the 1 seed. The Eagles should be the 1 seed. It just depends on where San Francisco ends up. If they're the 3 or the 2 seed. If they end up being the 3 seed, we'll have to face them in the NFC Championship. They would have to get their way to the NFC Championship because obviously it'd be 2v3 or 3v6 and stuff like that. So we wouldn't have to see the Niners either to the NFC Championship game. I would love, though, for it to be Cowboys-Eagles NFC Championship game. So I don't think that path's there anymore with the way the Eagles or the way the Niners have struggled as of late. And we got to see what they do coming off their bye. Did they get things kind of worked out? The trade with Chase Young, does that help that front 4? Because that's where I think a lot of their problems come is from that front 4 right now. They're not getting the same pressure and sacks they were getting last year. So we'll see where that goes. It's those 3 teams, and you can throw Detroit in there just a little bit. We got to see what Detroit looks like coming off their bye week as well after, getting a little bit shackled by the Ravens a couple weeks ago and then a win against the Raiders. I think the 3 teams in the NFC are still the Cowboys, Eagles, and Niners right now. And like I said, throw the Lions just a little bit in there. And then as far as the AFC is concerned, it's Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens. You can put Miami there. They hung with the Chiefs. Buffalo beat Miami, so you should put them there. And then Jacksonville. So, the AFC does seem a little bit tougher than the NFC right now. I definitely think those 3 teams in the NFC, though, those are one of those 3 teams is who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So we'll see where that goes. As far as my power rankings go, number 1, I'm going to put the Ravens. Like I said, I know the Eagles have a better record, but the Ravens have looked so much better. The Eagles still have some issues. Obviously, they're working out. They're just winning football games, so that obviously works out for them. Number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles, 8-1. Can't argue that. They're playing great football. Number 3, I'm probably going to put the Cincinnati Bengals. The way they've been playing, you got to base it. It's got to be a fluid list. It can't be off of really records. So I'm going to put 3 at the Bengals. 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're still finding ways to win football games. And number 5, coming off the bye week still, Jacksonville Jaguars. They're a very tough team to beat. Dallas and Detroit are right there. I'd probably put Detroit at 6, Dallas at 7. And then probably Cleveland and Buffalo right there at 8 and 9. Rounding out that top 10-ish a little bit. Everywhere else is kind of, and Miami, put Miami there as well. Kind of everybody else is below that top 10. So great week of football. I'm excited for this week. Dallas going up against the Giants. Not going to say easy win, never an easy win in the NFL, but should be a guaranteed win. Chance for us to kind of maybe do some things. Let's try some things. Let's get things flowing a little bit differently. Our special, I think some of the wide receivers. I think Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup need to have the big weeks. I love want to get the ball to CD. Great. CD showing he's got it. He's got a contract coming up. But we need to see what Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup are worth. So I feel like in this Giants game, man, let's try to get that involved more. See what it looks like. Because honestly, right now it's CD and Ferguson. Ferguson's up so big as a tight end. I love Ferg. I think I was okay with Dalton Schultz leaving because of what Ferguson showed me last year. It's not too bad either, honestly. They could have ran that pick play a little bit better on Schoonmaker's almost touchdown. But, man, Ferguson is solid as a good tight end. So he's creeping up there. But a lot of great matchups. Let's actually check that out real quick. Key matchups. Thursday night it's going to be Carolina at Chicago. See how that goes. Houston and Cincy could be interesting. I like Houston, like I said, in the fight they put up. I think Cincinnati will pull out the win here, but that could be an interesting game. New Orleans, Minnesota is a playoff potential battle, so they need to definitely do that. San Francisco, Jacksonville. Both teams coming off a bye. One team's on a streak. One team's on a bad streak. So let's see what happens there. That's going to be a very interesting game. Cleveland, Baltimore, obviously highly anticipated. Can that Cleveland defense slow down the Baltimore offense? Seattle could be in. I will try to end that here real quick. Give me a second. Hey, JJ.
Oh, Kylan.
Yep, it's Uncle Kylan.
Hi, Percy. What? Oh, Percy.
They're in Columns.
Percy.
They went and saw Grandma. Saw Grandma without you. They're not here. They're in the store, bud. Look. Be right back with you guys. Hang on a second.
Oh, door.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Yep.
Alright, well, as soon as we're done shopping, we'll come get you.
Say okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, kind of push the button. Alright, so back to where we were at there. Sorry, folks. My brother called. He's coming to pick up my kid. He's the babysitter for today, so I can go to work. So, unfortunately, yeah, my Tuesday schedule just for this week's kind of changed. I'm doing NFL today. I might get on later tonight and do Red Dead to make up for the because I got to go to work today. I'm putting in 6 days a week. So, Detroit could be a very interesting game as well. The Chargers need to, obviously, and I think Detroit wants to keep winning to be at that 2 seed right now. They're sitting at that 2 seed. So, Dallas, New York, it's always going to be a big televised game just because of it's being Dallas. Jets at Raiders is supposed to be the Sunday night game. I would almost, if they could flex that out, I would flex that out for either Cleveland, Baltimore, or San Francisco, Jacksonville. Yeah, that would be what I would do. I don't know if they can yet. I don't know if it's happening yet, just quite yet. I wouldn't even mind moving Dallas and New York to the Sunday night game so I can actually watch it live. I mean, I'm going to try to watch it on Red Zone, and I usually find somebody on TikTok streaming it, but unfortunately my market is for Seattle and is for Seattle, so I have to watch the Seattle game. Buffalo at Denver for Monday night. Again, great Monday night game. Played pretty well against Kansas City a couple weeks ago. Now, granted, it was Patrick Mahomes, so maybe they're getting stuff figured out there in Denver. The bye teams are Kansas City, Los Angeles Rams, Miami Dolphins, and Philadelphia Eagles. Clearly because the Chiefs and the Dolphins decided to take the bye after coming back from Germany, which was smart. The KC, Philly, though, both teams having kind of that same amount of time to prepare as they did in the Super Bowl. So let's see what the matchup like. A lot of people are anticipating that to be a games though. Honestly, Tennessee at Tampa Bay, like a lot of good games this week. I really am excited for them. I can't put it down. I do have to go to. I don't because my brother, somebody and her kid birthday party. We're going to that birthday party Sunday, so we'll see what we can do there. Be a lot of stuff watching on my phone. I don't know how to schedule it during the Dallas game though. He knows better. Red zone. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch this to play. If you watch this a little later, just make sure you hit that follow button, turn those notifications on so you can join us on these lives. I'd love to have some chats with you guys about the NFL, so definitely please come join. I will upload this by the end of the week, so if you find it on there, just please hit the like button and subscribe there as well.